It's Brogan Herbert, and right now on Magic Chilled, I'm up close with Craig David. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We've got lots to talk about, including your brand new single, Who You Are, with MNEK. First, though, we are going to go back to 2000 with a Magic Chilled favourite. Tell me about the iconic 7 Days.
Wow. One, it brings back so many good memories of that time. I mean, I was like 16 years old when I wrote that song. Hence why everything was moving so quickly throughout the week. But when the song actually connected, it was the one that really took me around the world, like in a way that I couldn't have imagined. I mean, like having the big artists like Beyonce and Missy Elliott and Jennifer Lopez, like all reaching for 7 Days is one of their favorite songs. And I was just thinking, this is crazy. So I'm very grateful.
Is it a song now where you're like, not tired of hearing it, or do you ever get tired of performing it? Because obviously the fans love it, but do you still get like the same excitement that you had all those years ago when it came out?
Yeah, I really do. It's like there's some songs that I'll always find a way of bringing something to the song that kind of that makes it feel fresh and new to me. But with a melody like 7 Days and what it represents, as soon as people hear that dun, 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 and the crowd goes off, and then you go into the chorus where literally you could just put the mic out and everyone sings the words back to you. There's something very special about that. So I can't get tired of that feeling. It's just, and it's nice to have a song that when anyone refers to the week, anyone says 7 Days, they tend to kind of say, oh, okay, we know Monday, and what do you do on Tuesday and Wednesday? Okay. And you chilled on Sunday, right? Okay,
So you've done some live shows recently. I saw you at Pub in the Park, and live music is such a big part of your life as a performer. Usually you're in Ibiza doing festivals and things like that. So how has the last year or 2 years been for you, and how did it feel to get back out and perform again?
It's been such a joy. I feel like having a period of time where we couldn't go out and perform, we couldn't all be together, to then go out and do that again. There was this euphoria when I walked on the stage. It did feel like people had that feeling of, okay, this feels like it was before, but we know that this could be taken away from us, which I think was something we never thought was possible. So there's a different kind of like being grateful for being there with your friends, and you want to make a memory of that moment. And the shows have just been like, I've just been back out on stage, which is what I live for. So long may it continue, you know, like I'm so glad that we can all be together like this.
Yeah.
And that's what we needed. Connection is everything.
Were you nervous for the first one back? How did it feel just before you sort of went out and performed again?
Do you know, I still get butterflies with every show that I go out. But they're kind of, they're a weird butterflies. They're like, there's this sort of, you hear the opening chords of the set, or you're about to walk on and someone's saying, right, okay, they're ready for you. Are you ready? And you get the butterflies coming through your stomach. And then I walk out onto the stage, and then there's this feeling where I feel super grounded as when I'm on the stage. I'm like, this is home. Like this is where I do my thing. So I get that throughout, but I was never really in doubt of the feeling from the crowd. I always felt like they're gonna be hype. I just wanted to stay grounded, because sometimes it's like New Year's Eve. You want to go like Superman, Superwoman, do something extra than you could ever done before in the whole year, and you're like, guess that it's the same thing that could have been done like 4 weeks before, but I'm trying to turn up like crazy on this night, and you're feeling it the next day. So I'm trying to ground myself on stage. Otherwise you get swept up in it, and then you lose your train of thought. So, but loved it.
So tell us all about the brand new single, Who You Are, which is out now. You've worked with MNEK on it, who's becoming a bit of a legend with all his producing and songwriting, all the people he's working with.
Totally.
So how was it to work with him?
It's such a pleasure to work with such an incredibly talented human being who has always been involved in writing songs, from his own music when he had like Ready for Your Love back in the day with Gorgon City, a huge record. And then you go into the songwriting credits for like Little Mix, and he's been involved in so many of my songs that we haven't been in the studio necessarily together. So the KSI record that I had with Really Love, he was involved in the writing of that. James Hype, No Drama, Change Your Love, which was on my Time Is Now album. So he's been there, and it's like, when are we going to get in? We know all the same people, Camille, Trey Jean-Marie, all the same crew. When are we, finally, we get in the studio together, and the first vocal that comes out of his mouth is the chorus.
Right.
And he left shortly after that, and then we just had this sort of back and forth thing of, I was just like, Uzo, which is his real name, like, do you know what you just did then? He's like, yeah, no, it was cool, just a little vibe. No, not little vibe. I'm telling you, what you came through is something so special that you've inspired me today. And then there we have Who You Are.
I really like the theme of the song kind of being about your authentic self, which I think a lot more people are able to do now. So that's really important. And you said this record holds a special place in your heart. So what's so special about it for you?
I just really feel like over a course of a career like I've had at the moment, it's spanning like 21 years, there's like a duty of care in the way in which the messaging you put through in songs. So I'll always come with the records, hopefully that will get you moving and the hands in the air, and I can come correct with that. But what are you saying? Because I feel like that's important for me now. And maybe before I wasn't as conscious. So my first album, I was saying a lot of things that really were from my heart. And now I'm in a place where I'm like, a song like Who You Are is articulating to people and giving people an opportunity to reach for a song that they may not be able to find the words to say to someone or to express truly who they are. And if they have already kind of embraced that, it's almost an empowerment song. It's like, I am here, this is who I am, no one can tell me otherwise. And I love that. And I feel if it lands in that way, then I've done the song a service, and it's able to then you can put your hands in the air and go crazy in the club to it. So
I was going to say, I think it's going to be an anthem, hopefully. I can see it.
I really
all the
appreciate
parties, clubs, everything. So with the new single coming, do we have any plans for any more new music, perhaps an album or anything like that?
Yeah, lockdown's been, on one hand, it was so hard and it disconnected everyone, but also got a lot of us back into our heart to be creative. So for me, after I was like, okay, family, friends, everyone's cool. What can I do here? We got to get in the studio and we got to record songs. So my home studio became like the place for a long period of time. So I've got a new album dropping next year, May, and it's entitled 22, which has got a lot, again, the symbolism of 22. There's 22 years since my first album. I'm a journeyman on that journey. There's the angel number of 22, the symbolism of what 22 means. So if anyone wants to go a bit deeper, they can go into the symbolism of it. But it's an album that, again, embodies the sentiment of who you are again. It's like, what can you say in the songs, which is not preaching to anyone, because no one wants to be preached to. So say something that someone can find the song through the melodies, but then when you want to go a bit deeper, you're like, oh, he's actually saying something here. Like, this is cool. And I love those ones. Those albums where you're like, if you don't want to hear the lyric necessarily, you just want to put your hands in the air, that's cool. But if you want to go deeper, there's something there too.
Yeah. And Emanike is obviously the perfect person for you to have done that with on the new single. Is there any other collaborations on there?
There's a couple people like that maybe people don't really know. There's a few on there that are like, you'll know for sure. But there's some that I want to bring people through. I feel that's another duty of care, to bring through artists who are on the cusp of blowing up. And I've always kind of felt like I've been part of that. Sigala, when he was about to have his moment, I was in the studio with him as he was having his number one. He literally got his number one plaque and he's doing an interview as we were recording, Ain't Giving Up. I'm just thinking, this is bad.
Wow.
And then AJ Tracy's of this world, and you're working with them like when they're on the come, but then they have Labrador Grove and it kicks. So there's a few on this album that I feel like they're the new wave that I'd like to think I could help in some way, and then they'll go off and blow up in the way that they're going to do anyway.
Did you find that when we were in, lockdown a while ago, but obviously it gave people a chance to work with people they may not have before because you've had to meet in person and things like that. So did you sort of strike up any new relationships with people in that way? Because everything was virtual basically, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, especially with the like, I always feel like when I did my first album was with Mark Hill from The Artful Dodger. And when you've got rapport with like one producer in particular, like it builds from there, the foundation's right, and then you'll try new things, different artists will come in and you'll try, and even other producers. The main body of this new album is with a guy called Mike Brainchild, which some people will know, and if you don't, I'd like to say that old sort of cliche thing that you better get to know, because this guy is just an incredible musician who understands me. He'll push me. He loves R&B as well. So when it comes to harmonies, I can see his eyes, the glint in his eye, and his face, his smile. He's like, "We're going in, yeah? Okay, yeah." The screen has got so many vocals for the harmonies, yeah. He's just like, and I love that kind of stuff. So when you're working with someone like that, and I'm giving him his flowers now because he's someone that I'd like to think becomes the go-to guy that everyone's like, Mike Brainchild. So yeah, he's the one.
So let's go right back to your debut single. Obviously, you said 7 Days kind of changed everything for you, but before that you had Fill Me In, which went to #1. That must have just been an incredible feeling from the first single you put out like that to have such a massive impact.
Yeah, it was, everything went from like 0 to 100, even though there'd been a lot of things behind the scenes. Rewind did its thing, and very natural, organic growth. By the time it hit Fill Me In, there's like your first solo single, like you said, first #1. And I was just like, and it came out the same week as Destiny's Child, Say My Name, which was kind of crazy to have a #1 that week and them to be #2. For me, I was like, what? There was too many parts that I was just like, this is just mind blowing to me. But probably my favorite song I've ever written, just because the guitar melody that Mark Hill had played was unbelievable. It's like I'd still find that so hypnotic. Even if my lead wasn't on it, I'd just be like, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I could just hear it again. I remember how long I was playing it before I even wrote a word to it anyway. So yeah, I'm just very grateful. In 21 years in this, to be putting music out that still is fresh and people are embracing. I'm just grateful.
Magic